Summer 2022. The sun was going down. There was a hazy mist on the countryside where I was washing my car in the driveway. In the reflection of my car, I noticed something odd. I slowly looked up and couldn't believe my eyes.
Hello everyone, I'm Chase,
And I'm Elliot.
and we've devoted our lives to solving Earth's greatest mysteries.
Who you just heard is Ben Lacher, a local man from Alliance, Ohio, who claims to have seen something that is not of this world.
Today, we'll be hearing his stories, as well as comparing them to events of the past with UFO expert Kyler Mattern.
Here is Ben on his first encounter with the unknown.
So my first experience, I think I was in third grade, 9 years old. My friend, he was over, we're playing, I think we were on our iPads. We're sitting in my sunroom. You know, it's surrounded by windows. And I just happen to look up, and I see outside the window this super bright light that was not like a flashlight or anything. So I was like, oh, let's go check it out. So I go down, I open the door, we go outside, and we go out and on the grass, and we're looking at it, and it's not really moving. And it was like really bright. So we just stayed there, and then all of a sudden it moved super close, super fast. And then it just stayed there. And we thought it was a helicopter, but there's no noise. There was nothing. It was just sitting there. And then a couple, I guess, other like UFOs or something came out of it, and there was like 5 lights that came out of it. And they were all like moving slowly. And then all of a sudden they went back together, and then it started moving to the right, kind of slow, and then it just beamed off and it was gone.
Those little lights that came out of it, do you believe those to be smaller UFOs or some kind of light mechanism coming out of the primary UFO, or what, in your opinion?
I would
was that to you?
think they would be other UFOs because they moved in different directions and they weren't all moving in the same way, so it'd be very odd if they were the same object.
So what you're telling me right now is that we're not dealing with one UFO,
No,
but several.
several UFOs.
After this, we spoke to Kyler, and the story he told us sounded shockingly similar.
Well, the modern history of it starts around 1947 with a man named Kenneth Arnold. And he was flying around Mount Rainier, Washington, when he noted approximately 9 objects moving over 2,000 miles an hour, was his estimated guess. And he was, an established guy, and he's the man who coined the term flying saucer.
As you can see, just as in Ben's story, multiple UFOs were reported by Kenneth Arnold to be moving at unbelievable speeds.
But that's not all, as Ben in fact had a second encounter.
So I decided it was a nice day to wash my car. It was warm out, it was summer, and I was all excited. But most people aren't excited to wash their car, but anyway.
You enjoy it.
Yes, I love scrubbing her down, So I began to walk out of my car on the rocks, and I noticed my dogs were acting kind of strange. They usually follow me out to my car because they think they're going for a ride, but they weren't, and they were all freaked out, and I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. But I kept walking, and I get my soap out, I'm washing my car, and as I was washing, there was a beam of light that caught my eye that was on my car. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I look up in the sky, and I see a light. And let me tell you, it made me a little nervous because I thought it was a star, but the sun was still out, so there was no other stars visible. So I kept watching. I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. And it was moving slowly to the right. And all of a sudden, it beamed to the left. And my heart started racing, and then it beamed up, and then it was gone.
Once again, we checked up with Kyler to see how this held up. And just like his first story, this was eerily similar to an event of the past.
Well, there's actually this one place called Skinwalker Ranch where there was a family that had multiple sightings of UFOs and other aerial phenomena that would essentially harass them. They had a bunch of cattle on the farm, which was their livelihood. And a lot of times there would be the classic, like, cattle mutations where they find a corpse that's been mutilated in some way with no traces of blood around, no signs of, like, wolves or anything, something intricate that happened. Or else they find cows that went missing, they show up a few days later in a different spot, and then they find out that their fence has been, like, magnetized and that something went wrong. The compelling thing about it is that the government took an interest to it and that they actually had a slight task force around it for a while. And after that ended, a billionaire, Robert Bigelow, made his own task force and bought out the ranch and conducted a bunch of studies around it and found a lot of odd things and weird phenomena that happened all around the place. Not just things in the sky, but several things that boggles the mind. So there is several cases of people being essentially harassed or having multiple witnesses in almost hotspots around the world.
As we can see, this is not the first time a person has had multiple experiences with otherworldly beings.
Remarkably, Ben has actually experienced a third encounter. However, this was quite unlike the ones he had before.
Was this the last experience that you had with UFOs, or has there been anything else for you?
There was one other one, but I'm thinking of it right now. I don't remember. That's so odd.
You know that there have been witnesses throughout history have claimed that they have been abducted by aliens, possibly even wiped so they don't even remember it. Do you think that this could have happened to you?
I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Now, some people have claimed that upon further reflection, they can remember maybe not the whole experience, but perhaps images of what happened. Do you think if you think hard, you could tell us some images that pop in your head of that fateful night?
I did. A couple days after, I remember this just popped in my head. I had a dream, and I remember being like a white, it was almost like a white room, and I was like, I feel like I must have been laying down, and I like kind of opened my eyes, like I was squinting, and everything was really blurry, and I could see people or some kind of entity moving. There was multiple of them moving around, and they might have been like doing tests on me or something.
Betty and Barney Hill was an interracial couple in the 50s who didn't necessarily want any public attention, but what makes their story interesting is they were abducted by some kind of craft, but they were only able to remember it after a series of extremely vivid dreams and after they went under hypnosis.
Just like in Ben's story, these individuals had no memory of their abduction, except for what was revealed to them through dreams.
In closing, we might not ever know what Ben truly experienced, but what we do know is that there's plenty of reasons for you to always dig deeper.
I would hope that people remain skeptical to a certain degree. I would also hope that people recognize that there is something flying around. There's something going on in our skies that we don't know. It might be an absolutely bonkers weather event that's happening. It might be just normal drones that are man-made. But find the stuff that compels you and let it compel you.
The people that are listening right now, my encounters have changed my life. They made me more visual of the night sky.
But always keep an open mind and do your own research.
Because a lot of people don't believe in UFOs and even like my stories, so it kind of helps give me that faith that we will uncover more UFOs to come.
There is a lot of stuff that we haven't been able to talk about. Hundreds of things, thousands of things. And sometimes it snowballs and gets more and more interesting. So always remain open-minded.
We'd like to give a huge thanks to Ben and Kyler for coming out to speak with us.
And as always, thank you for listening.